Yes, here we are. Welcome. Thank you.
Hello, Lion. Celeste in the house.
Welcome to Christ Truth Reveal, the Unleavened Bible and the Meaning of Life, episode 34. And episode 34's title and starter subject is the purpose of pain, how to claim joy, unending joy, despite earthly circumstances. And we are your hosts, Celeste and the Lion, and I am the Lion.
Welcome, listeners. Thanks again for joining us this fine Sunday. Really grateful for you, and just excited to maybe hear from you about how you're using the tools that we're offering, and just hear any praise reports. Getting quite a lot of chatter in some of the comment spaces, aren't we?
Yeah. Yeah, kind of by my doing, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Does that feel like pain or does it feel like pleasure?
Oh, pleasure. Lots of pleasure.
Everything for God's pleasure.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I kind of got it started and then goes back and forth and stuff. And that was off of YouTube channel in the chat there. I just went to a chat and I'm using the channel that is ours, not speaking necessarily for both of us, but I say I and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I had some really cool stuff going on. It was the video was of a guy that was pretending to be an atheist, and he was at a Christian school, and he made them think he was an atheist to kind of have them question and stuff. And then he revealed that he was actually a Christian, and he does that just to, I guess, help them with how
train their apologetics.
Yes. And so anyway, I just happened to see, a comment in the chat that, somebody said, I know God exists because I feel him in my heart. And I just, quoted the Bible as the word. That's because the word is written in your heart and the kingdom is within. And then kind of blew up from there, but not real, it was really subtle. But of course, being atheist and Christian and, speaking, about the word that has been made of non-effect through tradition and stuff. So I'm kind of getting it from both sides.
Mm-hmm.
But it was fun. I mean, that's my joy. That's what brings me high pleasure, is to be able to be challenged, in that way, and challenge at times. So that was really fun.
Nice. Yeah, I think on this topic, it just
And
seems like. Oh, go ahead.
well, you came up with this topic, and it just happened to be where the conversation went of what I claimed. It was exactly what I claimed. And here we are with this topic that you came up with. And that's just, it just shows how we aren't just individuals, that we are all connected. And that's what somebody said on there, that doesn't believe really in the Bible and stuff like that, or necessarily God, but said that believes that energy exists and never ends, and and that we're all connected. And that was it. That was awesome.
I think
it.
they'll like the discussion tonight then, because we're going to affirm that, right? There's no disputing that for us.
Yeah, and if anybody was in that conversation, they can click on the profile and go right to our videos and stuff, or our podcasts that are in video form, and then listen and know that I'm not lying. I'm not just bullshitting and stuff. I'm speaking the truth that I understand, that I have proven to myself.
Right.
So it's very cool. But from your side, how did that come about for you? In
Oh, I think
deciding.
I think I'm just going through it. You know,
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
some of the life circumstances that have me,
Yep.
pretty much questioning things, and not in a bad way, not like in a oh why me way, but just interesting. And as you know, I just got out of the ocean maybe hour and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I had some real clarity. That's where I go. That's where I get restored. That is the green. I was out on, I think it was Friday morning as well. So 2 days ago with a friend, and I held up the, kelp forest in the air, and I said, lay me down in these green pastures, God, so that I may be
Oh yeah.
restored. So anyway, that's where I go to get restored, and I get confirmation, and I'm in the zone where God's able to just give me confirmation and help me
Yep.
resolve these things that I bring to Him, because I'm literally going within God's power by entering the ocean, right? And then
Yes. And it
being
happens to be
moved.
green there.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
The
And
open
so
ocean
anyway,
happens to be green.
yeah, I feel like I was reminded of the answer, but I don't want to give that away from the start. I think um, it's not uncommon for people right now, even with things starting to open up again. A lot of people had some deferred grief. There's people who have, lost opportunities, whether it's jobs or,
Yeah.
just the community. They maybe feel like they've lost some community because they couldn't go to their church, and they've been doing Zoom and they're just over it. So there's a lot of, I think, people just feeling that pain can feel unnecessary. I mean, even on Friday, the person I was paddling out with, just, almost the exact same situation as mine, because his union is a county contractor, and the county is, you know, today's paper says that the state's going to get this windfall of money, but nonetheless, they're canceling contracts because of the deficits that are showing up on the books today.
Mm-hmm.
And so he is also beginning, his union might go on strike, which could be
Oh.
really could be really bad for hospitals, and hopefully we don't
Oh
get
yeah.
thing COVID again. But healthcare in America is just kind of broken, and I feel like people are feeling that pain of, oh, I didn't get my shots, I want to give up, and the
Yeah.
pain of, if you're an anti-vaxxer, the pain of having to deal with people that are trying to tell you how to live your life, or you know if you got vaccinated, people might be judging you because you're a sheeple, whatever, right?
Oh yeah. I know it's
There's
going.
so
It's
much. There's so much of that kind of
yeah, and
pain. It's pain that comes out sideways, right? Because they're not.
it seems an intentional divide device, from spiritual or from earthly or whatever. I mean, everything is meant to be, in my opinion, anyway. That's what I believe.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just seems it's really dividing. It really is. I know people that are actually, relationships divided over this stuff. Again, again, it's just something else. And yeah, it is painful. It's hard. It's very tough.
So I thought about, like, how to, just a little bit, what what it really means, and I feel like with many Christians, if you're a Bible believing Christian and you've been in those rooms, and maybe have a great pastor, a lot of the um, response to what is the purpose of pain, I think the number one response, and tell me if you feel maybe differently, but I think the number one thing you'll often hear is that it's to draw you closer to God.
Amen. I mean, all I can say is amen to that. Mm-hmm.
Right. And where that lands for me is like, First of all, really? You think I need that? You know, things are hard already, right? God knows that. Nothing's easy on this side of, you know, I mean, it can
Yeah.
be, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be a struggle, right? You can live in abundance and provision, which it
Yeah.
feels like, you know, we're able to model that for folks. But when I hear that, you know, that pain is God's way of drawing you closer to Him, I want to call BS. I want to say,
Yeah.
no, you know, God doesn't need to be drawn closer when your heart and your mind and your eternal soul are all in Christ consciousness. Then, right, you're never separated from God. There's no need to be feel like you have to be drawn closer.
Mm-hmm.
God is, you know, working
Excellent.
within you, and you are an experience of God, for God, and by God. And you know what? Live in that power, because that's what He said to you. It's like, do
Yeah.
these things and greater. You
Yeah.
know, don't get stuck in your pain. This is not, this too shall pass.
Yes.
And yeah, so I don't know. Do you feel like that's what
Oh,
you've
absolutely.
been
I mean,
taught
in
in the rooms of Southern Baptist? Because I didn't have the Southern Baptist experience, but I think, you know, they say that in Catholicism. They say it at my non-denominational Bible church, right? Oh,
um,
you're just not, you know, you're not relying on God enough. Is
I don't
what
remember it in the Southern Baptists as far as them talking about, going through pain and stuff, because
purposefully,
they think that it's all random, that none of that is created by God, they believe. And,
yeah,
like you from your childhood traumas and stuff, that it was really hard for you to accept that, that God created that, that was from God. But yet look at where you are,
yeah.
no pain, no gain. There's a reason that's said. It's not just for bodybuilders, and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's a universal truth. And, also then when you understand the need for the beating of the olive, which in the beating is not a mistake to use the word beat. It is beaten, man. I'm telling you, it is beaten. And just in the lifetime that, this lifetime that I experienced and that you experienced, we know, we've been through it. It's there. It's been beaten.
As a way to help reduce our ego so that our eternal
Yes.
soul's ego would be made known and would be the one that we're really
Yeah.
living through.
Yes, exactly. But right there is really okay. It's really hard for somebody to say, God did that. God, why would God do that? Just like my question originally that changed my life was, if there is a God, why would you allow this stuff to be happening?
Yeah.
And then years later, read a devotional thing where it's of a person asking, if you love us, if you're loved, then how can you allow this stuff to happen to the world? And then God says, would you have me take away the things that make men better? It's something like that. It's not word, verbatim, but
The things that might
um,
help you grow.
yeah. And that hit me like a ton of rocks, because I mean, like rocks. Yeah. It hit me like rocks. And that's the rock, because I was right at the end of my experience, still going through it, still fighting for custody and things like that.
All right.
And to read something like that and have it resonate in me was amazing. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
it really resonated, like, yes,
Cool.
yes,
That's that
yes,
process of the word being sown on your heart, right?
exactly. And it opened the
Sewing.
art.
When you talk about sewing, right? There's some
Yeah,
pain from
yes,
stitching,
yeah,
from
yeah,
sewing that together.
yes, yes, because it is written in our heart. The word of the truth of the meaning of life is in there, but it's more locked up in the ark, which is the heart. And then, though, the word, the plan of each lifetime that we go through, each life that this world has on it at the moment, is all planned. It's all written. It's all there, all at once. And it's all happening all at once. So I think that's where the seed of faith comes in, right? The mustard seed. All somebody like, discussing these things with atheists, people that call themselves atheists in the YouTube thing, okay, there's some of them that were totally, no way, there is no God, blah, 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 attack, or whatever. But all that person has to do is just, or any person has to do is just have first of all, anybody to not believe that anything is possible, you're just, never mind. Closed off, go on with your life. You're going to live for up to 100 years and you're going to go on. You'll find out when you die, but you're not going to remember the next time. You eventually will remember. But that seed of faith, all a person has to do is just have the possibility that God does exist. Forget Jesus, forget all that stuff, forget the Bible thumpers, forget the hellfire and brimstone, because that stuff is misinterpretation for one thing. But just the belief that there is a God, a creator, an intelligence, just a little seed is all you need to say, okay, there's a possibility I'd like to know. Show me. If there is a God, like I said, if there is a God, show me. Show me the meaning of life, I'd say that'd be the ultimate. I want insight, wisdom, understanding. And I guarantee you it's going to come somehow, some form. For me, it took 3 years. At this time on this planet, with all the population that we have and with the energy of this sun that we have going on from our central sun, it can happen instantaneously now. It can happen in 3 weeks or 3 days or 3 hours or 3 minutes or whatever. But I think that's the only answer, though. Otherwise you just waller in it. You just have to go through the pain. You have to go through the beating until you come to the point where you realize that there is a possibility that there is a God, and you allow God to show you. And then again, it comes back around to no mistake. You're not going to ask unless it's time to ask, right? Your soul will spark that question in you and that moment. But it's funny to hear people just, without even any possibility, of it being possible. And I get that, because I think maybe as a child,
a lot of the cancel culture, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
Christians are pretty discriminated against, actually, in many ways. But
Yeah.
it's another whole topic. We don't want to
And
target
they,
it. I feel there might be a little conspiracy theory at work where our agency and my position were lost because
faith-based.
we're
Yeah,
faith-based.
faith-based. Yeah. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be called Christian. It's just faith, faith-based. Yeah.
And I don't know it to be true, and I don't want to be putting that kind of energy out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's just a guess.
I just do have a
yes.
bit
But then again, what did I just experience in that chat? I experienced discrimination also.
Mm-hmm.
Here I am using the word of God, so to speak, from my heart, and I'm using the Bible that Christians believe in, and they were totally just, man, I'm hallucinating, I'm a crack smoker,
put you in the gallows.
Yeah, they want to crucify me, So it goes all ways. Everybody digs into a side, and that's the issue. Okay, if anybody wants to wake up and experience this joy that we experience, and as Celeste said, challenges, right? Celeste still has a challenge with that joy. And okay, so for me, it's been baked in me for decades now. For you, it's only been baked in for, a decade and a half, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, from your
second
start.
phase only, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but actually to understand that God is within you, that the word is written in your heart, and for you to seek it there. Yeah, 8 months, 9 months, and bam, you know.
Yeah. Next
And
level.
now I hear in your voice, like last week, I commented to you that I hear in your voice the confidence of that and a deep joy when you're explaining that, and when you're talking about the kids you work with and stuff, which that's really, I'm not sure I understand why you're having to do that shift, because that's you written all over it. That's your calling, I thought,
Yeah.
at least it was for then, and but we don't know what's to come for sure.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, and
yeah, that
I'm okay with it as of today. I mean, I have to be because today was really
yeah, it was it.
my
Yeah.
last hurrah. Had to do a little bit of work today, but anyway, yeah, the idea of needing pain to be drawn close to God is still somewhat suspect when God's already in us. So let's
Yeah,
look at pain from a different perspective. We don't need that to be drawn close to God if He's already in us.
exactly. Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the tradition these days is that God is a white-haired old man, like what was painted on that cathedral by um,
Michelangelo.
Michelangelo. Michelangelo, yeah. So that's the way people see it. Hello, God knows. Welcome. Thank you for acknowledging.
Welcome.
Hi. And I
Feel
see,
free to call in if you're on the app.
yeah,
You're
Colin.
able
Yeah,
to select call in and
if you would like to join in and tell us what you understand or question anything, please do. That is the only gift that we ask for, which I guess that's time to plug that, is
yeah.
if you're on the Podbean app, you're going to get pop-ups. It's not from us, it's Podbean. It's just in their app. They're going to get a pop-up that talks about following us. You don't have to follow us. Only if you would like to follow us and send comments or anything like that, or you would like, assistance with something, or would like to share anything. They also will have a pop-up that asks for gifts, as in monetary. We do not accept any gifts. This is free. All of this stuff was free to me my entire life. The only thing I had to do is be there. Just go in there and touch and be with God. It's free. Same with Celeste. We give it freely. When God says do something, you do it, and God will take care of it. And it is being taken care of. The provision is always being provided. So, anyway, just disregard any pop ups that ask for any kind of gift. Follow if you like, that's fine. But we don't do the kind of thing like YouTube videos, like, share, subscribe. It's not about that. What this is about is Celeste and I having our conversations publicly instead of on the phone by ourselves, and then fulfilling that thing that I believe in from the Bible, where it says, share the gospel with the world. But we say, share the good news, because the gospel has been made of non effect through tradition. Because people don't know that Christ is within you, that we are all Christ's. And Jesus showed us that when he said, do the thing, or believe the things that I have done, and you will do those things and greater. And what was greater? Well, what did he look like when he met Paul or Saul before he was Paul? Anybody that knows the Bible, he met Saul on the road to Damascus, and it was like light around him, and the voice was like rumblings, but it says that it was Jesus. That's the greater things that we can do. Does anybody not believe that? If you read the Bible, do you not believe that? It's right there. It's right there. The
And you
kingdom is
can
within.
you can put off that vibe that make people know that Christ is real. It comes to
Yes.
life in you, and that they're
Yes.
welcome to join you in that ability to have people just drawn to that light.
And if you want to experience the ultimate joy, I'm telling you, I experienced that. I can speak only for myself in that. I don't have any challenge with it anymore. I used to. It took me a while, a lot of training. It does. Everybody expect training. It can be instantaneous, like I said, but it can be also that it just takes a little training or a lot. But
I like
ultimate
that.
joy, ultimate
Yeah.
joy, you know, I
And I
know the
like,
joy because I've felt higher naturally by being in God's spirit than I could have ever done when I used to experiment with drugs when I was a kid.
yeah.
Never have I experienced anything like I have with God. And I do that every day, every 24/7, 365, never not there. That's the joy that we're talking about.
Yeah,
That's
and
what I'm.
coming back to the topic, as far as like this idea that, is pain necessary? Is it from God? Right? Well, yes. Is it
Mhm.
necessary? Well, yes.
Yes.
But do you need it to draw closer to God?
Not necessarily, no, because
Really, right? And that's kind of gonna
yeah,
that's gonna be a big shift for people. And it's gonna kind of blow their minds. But
yeah. But what if, there's people out there that don't believe in anything, but and they experience joy. They don't experience the kind of joy I'm talking about. I
mm,
know there's a difference, but they experience joy because their lives are actually pretty good. I mean, they have, happy lives. There are many people that do. Bless you. And there are many people out there are, they experience joy and stuff like that. So they have no reason to look for anything else within themselves, right? And that's no mistake. That's what their soul is going to experience. And then, but they've probably, I guarantee they've either had lifetimes of beating olives or they're going to have lifetimes of beating olives, because not everybody has to give their life into the understanding and acknowledgement of Christ or God or anything like that, because you have many chances. There isn't just one and done, which was a very excellent phrase from Celeste a while back. Not one and done. It's not one and done. And it's in the parable. It does not say it directly, but if you read the whole Bible, it shows you that it is. That the olive be beaten, that the lamp burn forever. The virgins have the lamps full of oil. They were able to go to the altar, and then they went in the door. And the people that didn't have, the ones that didn't have the lamp full of oil, they were, I don't know you, away from me, even though they were probably Christians or whatever, or
mhm.
thought they were Christians. But the true meaning of Christian is to be like Jesus, to be Christ conscious. And people don't like that word conscious for some reason, especially Christians. I don't know why. What's wrong with that? Everything is consciousness. Everything,
Or
either,
you're asleep.
but that's consciousness too, though.
Well,
You're
yeah,
still conscious. Everything is conscious. It's just not necessarily a reasoning conscious, you know.
there you go.
But
That's well said.
into Christ, and you realize that it's consciousness, that it's energy. Oh man, I like the other day I was just from this YouTube back and forth thing. I just sat thinking about, you know, the creation of this physical universe and how it all exists right now and how it just created instantaneously, created from imagination, which in the Bible it says created from God's imagination for God's pleasure, when it says image and likeness. And that has more than one meaning, but that's the meaning I'm going to use for now. So, with what is going on in this world right now on this planet, it's kind of like forcing everybody, even people that have very good lives and stuff, everybody's being affected right now.
Yeah.
You know, like you said about, people are getting the shots and they're moving on, but they're still caught, in it. Now they got to carry a card perhaps and show that card, So let me see your papers, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, the world is coming to everybody's doorstep, and it's going to, and it's predicted. The Bible, a lot of the things in the Bible have already come to pass, and it said that these things must come to pass. And I hear Christians praying for it not to come to pass, instead of thank you, God, for your will being done. But that's not judgment or anything. That's just saying you can't. The Bible does not say where three or more come together, they'll have it. It says where two or three come together, and that's talking about your mind, your heart, and your soul, the three parts of you, the God part, the mind part that reasons, and the heart where the word is written, where God's love exists, centered, so to speak. And I guess real quick,
I think before you go there, I just want to make sure to get in that idea that the God part being the soul, and that the soul
yeah,
is God's. That's the one life,
yes,
but it's the
thank you, yes,
eternal lens of your
yes,
progression, your soul's progression, because
yes,
that's what, when we come back to the pain principle, that's what this whole discussion's based upon, is that the pain is purposeful in that it allows your ego, human ego, to be dissolved and to be dwindled and to be rendered into the God soul, the ego of your true purpose that God's
yep,
put you here for. And so I just want to make sure we got that in there, because pain, again, there's physical pain of getting a shot. There's, the pain of getting sick and being on a ventilator. There's, the pain that you've overcome through, right, different diagnoses and overcoming, blood
yep,
cancer,
yep,
very real pain that you did while you're being in treatment. For me, with just kind of skeletal issues, right? Osteoarthritis, these kinds of things, right? But just being overcomers, just allowing God's power in us. When we have this triune God in us, we can do things greater than God. And people are kind of blown away when, you know, we share these truths of just how God's worked these miracles through us because of our faith.
yep.
And favor, right? Favor's not fair. We've taken a few beatdowns to get
Oh
to this
man,
favor.
no, no. I mean, if that's what being favored is, then we're pretty freaking favored. I got
Favor's
an ass
not.
whooping, man. I
That's
had
a
my
that's
ass
a
whooped.
hashtag right there. Favor's not fair. And again, and
Oh
I
boy.
don't think people know the story, right? They don't know that backstory that, wow,
Oh,
you've got all these physical manifestations of favor in your life, but what about these times where we were truly just operating on a mustard seed of faith because our lives were so unwound, the psychic pain that we've endured
no kidding.
because of God's will for our lives, that He
Yeah,
needed to experience that. He felt and his heart was broken through all of it, right? And that's what God, is that the purpose of pain, for God to feel that? No, the purpose is to glorify God. We're quick and great. Um, we're quick to give God the praise.
yes.
Quick
For
enough to give God all the praise.
everything.
And yeah, and
Yes,
that's joy. See the difference of
yes.
pleasure and joy, right? Joy is ever present. Joy is knowing the favor that comes from enduring pain
Go,
for
go,
the
brother,
glory of
go.
God.
Get it. Go for it.
That's the that's a great topic, and God put it on our hearts because no suffering. You know, you can
Yes.
you can determine, you know, the end of suffering. You can.
You know,
That
and
is
just,
enough. The power of God is enough. It's already in you. There's no limit once you've
yes.
moved your mountain,
And
you know?
when you, and if and when someone retreats within from this outer world and goes forth seeking God and with God, the experience, you can get into that experience. You can feel it, and I know it. I can say that I know it to be true because I've done it. I
Hmm.
feel it all the time. You can go in there, you can feel everything all at once that God feels. At that level, there is no pain. Where God exists, there is no pain. There's just God
Transcends
created.
time,
Create
space,
creation. And
the
part of the
power.
creation is natural law is that the olive has to be beaten to fill the lamp, which means to grow the soul. So when the soul goes into a new body in existence like Jesus, it does like Jesus when it's 12 years old, is wise, is able to speak to baffle the leaders of the church at 12 years old, is able to overcome his ego of knowing that when he came out of the water of the baptism and the Spirit came on him, it wasn't a devil that was tempting him, it was his ego. He had to deal with his ego. I experienced the exact same thing, only in a different way. I went into the wilderness also, and I know other people too. He could have, and why didn't he? If the world is such a wrong place, why did he leave it like it was and say that these things must come to pass? He said, you can rule the world. He could rule the world. If he could rule the world, why didn't he heal everything? Why didn't he make everything peaceful? Why not? In the movie The Matrix, there's a really good point in that. And that movie has got a spiritual undertone meaning if you look at it from a spiritual perspective. The agent says the first world we created was a perfect paradise. And we lost all the crops, all the humans, because they didn't want paradise. They wanted challenge. They wanted pain. They wanted suffering. And the guy was saying it's an infestation. It's like a disease, like a virus, calling the humans
Huh. Let me just
because
throw this in before you go on because I feel like
and
it's
I
almost
was
the
done.
well, I feel like it's almost the opposite. Like humans want pleasure, right?
Yeah, very
But
good. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but
Yeah. But
yeah,
what does that mean? Yeah.
yeah. At what cost?
So yeah, like
And
some
sometimes pleasure is not even enough for humans. That's the funny thing. Like in my own, I'm just gonna, transparency, right? Pleasure
yeah.
wasn't enough. I needed euphoria,
Yeah, yes.
and
See? Yeah.
that's where I really was trying to create a God experience. I really felt like that euphoria was me seeking God. Truly, I know I've always been a seeker, but right,
Yes.
looking to use something outside of myself to experience euphoria. And that's what we're saying is that that's no longer true when the triune God is inside you, when you have united your heart, your mind, and your
Yes.
eternal soul. That's the work that, and it's not going to be easy. If it was easy, everyone would do
Yeah.
it. Not everyone could do it. Not, many
Mhm.
are right seeking, but few are,
It's it's that simple.
many
Yeah.
are called, but right.
Yeah. Few are chosen. Why? Because only a few at a time have their lamps full of oil.
Yeah. So again, just wanted to make sure we captured that. And
Oh yeah,
it's
thank
not
you.
just the physical pain. There's a lot of us who are having mental health, breakdowns, literally, right? But you don't have to suffer like that. You can choose healing within yourself, just like we did. And it
Yeah.
takes work. It takes work. It takes practice, like you've said. It takes repetitions.
Yep.
It
And
takes
like
training. What is different? Anybody that's ever been an athlete knows
yeah,
training is
over and
hard.
over and over and
Do
over.
you know what you got to choose your hard. Do you want hard to be fit, or do you want hard to be, having to be on dialysis because you're diabetic because you live undisciplined?
Yeah.
What choose your hard, choose well.
Exactly.
Choose
Yeah.
wisely.
Yeah.
And we're not, again, it's not judgments. These, we're
No,
just
just
witnesses
spades,
of God.
hearts.
Yeah. And I was,
Hearts, spades.
I'm being transparent again, right? Pre-COVID, it's 30 pounds
Mhm.
heavier and, needing medications for my cholesterol. And I'm pretty sure that's not going to be an issue now that I've dropped 30 pounds.
Wow. Yeah, that's such a great point
Heal
because yes,
thyself.
it's like okay, it's a saying, what was it? Oh, trading complications. I think that was in a movie, Stigmata. The priest says, she says, so you gave up, relations with women, or with whatever. And he said it's trading complications, because life before was complicated when he was not a priest, and then when he became a priest it was just different, but it was still complicated. So, and that's exactly what you're saying right there, is just pick your complication, man, because whatever you do, it's going to be complicated.
Yeah.
Even people that experience, joy without knowing God or whatever, they have, it's complicated, but they are enjoying it, And real quick
As
shout
an
out,
experience of God for God.
we have an Israel Rhino in the room, and Giraffe Heart commented that got booted out of catechism, which is Catholic version of Bible study, at age 13 for questioning the teacher.
Yeah.
They kicked a 13-year-old out for questioning the teacher.
And it was probably at 13, it's such a pure question. It's just a question of
Yeah.
why doesn't this feel like love? And
Yeah.
I could actually see those words coming out of Giraffe. Why doesn't this feel
13.
like love?
And 13, you're still in Christ consciousness.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
you know the love. You go, wait a minute, man.
It doesn't feel like love. Are you talking about God right now? Wait a minute. Oh, slow your roll.
Yeah. And
Anyway,
again, like the person did in the chat on the YouTube video, said, I know God exists because I feel him in my heart.
100%.
And not everybody does, though, because it's not time yet, but if somebody's like hearing this, listening to this, it's either to challenge you to decide whether or not you believe it's either possible, or that you already understand that it is, but you don't really understand yet that you can have that, you can be in the kingdom, which is within. The word is written in your heart. Go within to be in the kingdom, to become as Jesus became. And then what was the ultimate of what he came? Well, read about where he came. He showed up to Saul on his journey to Damascus to call him to start teaching, to start ministering. It's light. He's light. He's light. He exists everywhere all at once. He did not leave, so he can't come back. You can't come back when you've never left. He's talking about Christ. Christ consciousness is within us. All we have to do is look up at that little seed of faith and let that mustard plant grow into a tree where your soul can nest and be one with you. You whole I yourself. You at one to whole I, and that is right use. Right use. It's so simple. Righteousness is a word used. I don't know why the English language is so perfect with it, but it is. But righteousness is like something that is sort of unattainable to a human in their thought, It's unattainable. What? Show me a priest. Show me a pastor, anybody that actually is really righteous. I mean, they may be in front of you, but how many times have we heard of them doing things that aren't? And that's not because they're bad or good or right or wrong. It's because they're still human, and I still do human
The ego
things.
still dominating them.
Yeah, I still do human things, but I've got a one-on-one with God, because it's God's life. And it's not that I'm choosing to do human things. It's because God created me to be human. So I'm going to do human things. But now when I do it as a witness. I just watch my body do its, dumb stuff and I laugh. It's fun now. But it does get up in the morning and it goes and does something that day that's human, whether it be working in the yard or going out and doing something else, it's whatever. It's going to do it. And then it's going to have human other issues, other things. And it's the judgment of that, which Jesus said, do not do, that creates the
discord.
Well, it creates the beating of the olive. When people feel guilty for doing something, gosh, that separates you from love. And that's what sin is. It's separation from love. That's all. It's so simple. It's just look at it with a little bit of a reverse outlook.
So I just want to come back to that principle of practicing things that are difficult. So I would also argue that with all this extra time from COVID, right, people are finding it really painful to sit and be.
Oh yeah.
And that it is painful to have to practice going within. If you've never done it, if it's not something that you've had modeled for you, it's one of the real joys of my role as a high school counselor was being able to teach meditation to kids and for the last few times get into Christ consciousness meditation. I was where he talked about as a faith informed practitioner. I could ask for permission because that wasn't hidden. That was a fact. People knew that was my background.
Right. Yes.
But
yes.
I have to ask permission. Is it okay if we talk about faith here?
Yeah.
So anyway, just with the meditations, being able to do that, it's really hard. There's a lot of resistance to it.
Yes, but
I have to ask permission. I have to say, look, I can only share with you that which was freely given to me. I can't teach you something I don't know how to do. So that's the reason that God ordered our steps so that we could walk alongside each other.
Yes.
And so when you kind of dispel the angst of talking about God, right? Then and you get permission, then if they're open, it's cool, and if they're not, it's also cool. I can just do the science part of it. I just do the mind science, talk about the different hertz, different brain cycles, and I'll talk about the colors. I just won't add what the colors indicate, the green pastures of the blood of Christ,
right,
green and the red. But
yeah.
if there's a crack, and you want the extra credit on this one, because let me share you that, and then right, minds are blown, right, and you can say something. Well, you've just experienced everything all at once, didn't you? I mean, that rush you felt, that euphoria you felt, was pretty incredible, right? Was there anything that you had to put inside your body to do that? Actually, no. All you had to do was bring your breath and bring your mind and bring your heart and bring your soul all together. And then everything that is, was, never will be was made available to you right now. All knowledge was made available to you in that moment. You knew what you knew that you knew.
And they did. What blessings.
They're changed, right? It's a seed. A seed is planted. On Saturday morning, I got to talk to a guy about this idea of the mustard seed of faith and moving your mountain. And really, I mean, that was just the prelude, right? I mean, that's like, I only gave him the table of contents, right? I didn't give him any of the meat. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah,
already, they're really vibing on it. It's like, wow.
yep. And that's the way you started, remember? All
Hmm.
it was is to take you into the energy and show you what Christ consciousness is. And that, boy, that was,
It was a rocket ride.
here it is now, complete understanding of it and knowing each part.
And wow, so yeah, we've covered a lot of different forms of pain. But I think again that the reason I wanted to come back to that idea of how difficult it is to sit and be, right? Be present here now. It's not something that we've learned, we're taught, and really annoys me in education that they call it a soft skill, or in business they call it a soft skill. To be present, to be humble, to be
Yeah,
authentic.
yeah, yeah.
You
Because
know.
you have to be always planning, always working, always. Yeah, yeah,
So anyway,
yeah,
but the pain of discipline, and we just, I kind of already talked about that, but yeah, choose wisely,
yeah.
choose to
And
learn
it,
how to sit and be,
yeah.
because when you
And
go to the
choose.
kingdom within, right, then
Yes.
as on earth as it is in heaven. That's what opens up.
And then also too on that point, you can choose wisdom. Choose wisdom.
Hmm.
Choose to have wisdom. You can do that, and that can be a start too. Choose to have wisdom, and I don't mean just like wisdom from experience and stuff. I mean wisdom from
Ask for
within.
the wisdom of Solomon. Why not?
Yes, yes,
That's how he got it.
exactly.
That's what he
Yes.
did.
I think it may say there be no other like that, but hey, you can come, like it's really close.
Pushing tolerances.
But that was, as a human being, but his wisdom wasn't earthly wisdom. It was knowing things about stuff he'd never heard of or seen before on the planet. It wasn't,
And
but of course
that's available to people. I've
yeah,
shared with people that when
know,
oh, you had a deja vu dream. Let's talk about that,
oh
because
yeah,
right, that's God's wisdom being revealed to you, your future, because
yep,
your life was written in the book, the book of life. Your name was
exactly,
written. God knows
exactly,
your name. Your whole life has already happened. That's just your future that you're finally catching up to,
yep,
being revealed to you.
yep. It's
It's
something that
crazy.
it's
And when you share something like that with people, they're just like, "What?"
yep. Deja vu is
Yeah.
because everything that's ever going to exist exists right now to God. Even if it hasn't started yet, it on the line that we're on, it's done. I'm done. Everybody's done. You can go and sit in meditation and you can get into your soul and you can feel that your soul is already like Jesus
Complete.
got to. And you're just catching up. We're just going to catch up on the line. But to God, it's already done. It's all done. And it's eternal. It never ends.
Yeah.
It never ends. And it may not be a universe. This universe will end, possibly. This planet's going to end. This sun is going to end. All these things are going to end. These bodies are going to end. Or
Mm-hmm.
you can transform your body like Jesus did and take it forever, which actually that's the only place that heaven exists is with your brain and your heart. You have to ascend the energy of your body vibration to the love higher vibration of unconditional love and infinite patience like Jesus did. And now Jesus is in everything everywhere. That's how Jesus knew exactly what was coming before it happened. At the dinner, how he predicted this stuff, how he asked God to take that cup from him because he didn't want to get his ass whipped. He didn't want to get put on the cross, but he knew he had to. He knew that was his life because he wouldn't have known it. And there's only one line because it's already done. You know, people say, like the book One by Richard Bach, all these lines of lives at every choice that a new you goes off. Well, that's just ego, that says that thinks that. Oh, there's got to be me somewhere else in another world that's better, or something like that, or in another,
parallel universes, that kind of
yeah,
theory.
yeah. Or and people believe that when they make a choice, a big choice in their life, if they say yes, they go on one line, and then but they also said no and went on another line. And then there's gazillion of themselves,
Wow.
And sorry, I laugh, I'm not laughing at that, I'm laughing with it, because that's just an ego thing to me, it's just a natural human thing.
Millions of me's. Wow.
Yeah, but no, there's okay, if you were God, the center of the creation, which actually we all are, we're just individuals now, we're parts of it, but we can be that, we can experience that. But if you're the God, then you're a gazillion right now, you're whatever's in this universe. There's so many, so much. And then if there is a parallel universe to this one that levels or that balances its energy, well, it's not going to be another me like in physics. It's going to be just another existence in another universe with a different energy. That's all. Now, we do have yin and yang split aparts, like Plato talked about, I do believe, but they're here with us. We're always here in this plane. And then if there's another alternate universe, then they're with each other over there. And, it's that's something I'll say that I believe. I don't know the truth of that, but I do understand the existence of everything. I know that it all just expanded by God's imagination, God's desire to experience it all, to experience magnificence for one thing. And then it created, it manifested. And then it was all once. It's all here right now. Boom. And then it's all go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I just want to make sure listeners understand that this can be revealed to them as well. It's not
Yes. Yeah. I'm
only
not
for
telling
you,
anybody.
and we're
Yeah.
not telling you to listen to, you know, the lion isn't going to be your answer, right? You need to get the answer
No.
straight from God. So
No, I'm
let's
just
just, yeah, let's just clarify that, right? You
yeah.
need to do that. You need to go inside. You need to get, in the practice of regular meditation in Christ consciousness so that you can have these things be revealed to you. This is not,
Yes.
it's a mystery why you can't just listen to a man and, get your answers. But no, you do not be taught by any man.
Yes. And we've said that in
Go to
past
God.
episodes. Don't listen to anything that I say. Don't listen to anything that anybody says, because in the Bible it even says you need not go to any man to be taught, but go directly to me, because you'll be deceived otherwise. And then it says, many will come in Jesus' name and say Jesus is Christ, and they will deceive many. And that's happening right now on a global scale. So don't believe anything I say other than the possibility that God exists, and go within yourself and find out what that means. I can tell you my experience. Celeste can tell you his experience, but we're all different. His is different than mine, but we come to the same place. We end up at the same place. It's all different, but everybody's got their own, and it's just a matter of seeking that. Just seek that. Ask, seek, knock. And it will open eventually. It may not open right away, because maybe it's not time for you to go through the door. Maybe you don't have the lamp full of oil yet. And I know egos don't like that, but tell your ego to go to hell, because your ego has you in hell. It's the ego is what when the Bible talks about the serpent, Satan, all those kind of things. Judas represented ego. It's all about egos, just talking about yourself. And thank you, Celeste, for keeping the balance. Bringing it back.
Well, I'm also just greeting a new listener. We've got
Yeah, we've got a
Kizito.
few. Yeah, there's
So yeah,
yeah.
welcome. And
Welcome to
you know,
everybody
we
that's joined the
always
room.
have open lines. There's opportunities to call in on line 2, line 3, line 4, line 5, and you know, keep this discussion going about the principle of pain, how it's affected you in your life. Are you an overcomer? Is it still just an ever-present challenge for you? Are you, you know, seeing some victory and beginning to recognize the favor that the pain in your life is going to bring you? We'd love to hear your thoughts on it. And just, you know, the last thread here, we were talking about the pain of stillness, the pain of having to practice a discipline like meditation. How's that been for you? What's your experience like?
Or would you like to have a better understanding of that, of what we're talking about?
And we always encourage people to look back at our um, archives, and episode 20 is where you can actually learn the process for entering Christ consciousness. And not only that, not only just uniting the triune God within you by having your heart, mind, and soul knit as one, so that Christ be in you, in your consciousness, but also, I lost it.
Just you can meet your soul.
Yeah, and then
You
the second half of that was where you can meet your soul. And go
yeah.
ahead, finish that.
Oh, just you're doing fine. You just kind of that's all.
Well,
Just
yeah,
you did like I do at times.
you be in your moment. Um, yeah, just knowing your soul's name is the part of the process that came to me pretty late in the cycle. So about 8 months ago, I finally agreed to, you know, take another um, take another attempt at meeting finding out my soul's name, having the identity of my soul be made known to me, um, and that's why I now go uh, by the name Celeste, because that is my eternal soul's name, and also got to, you know, learn my ego's personality by identifying the spirit animal that came with my, you know, first Adam. When Celeste was breathed into life, there was a white tiger also born into that life. And so that
Yes.
spirit animal really does help me to just recognize how I can be perceived as a threat, or, you know, just the presence. People are pretty always seem to be pretty aware that, you know, something's going on if I come into a room or whatever. I don't know. I've always had that experience in my life, and I didn't know why.
Yeah, and me too. And I know it to live in our heart, that it's in our heart, and it's what our carnal nature is. It's what our personality and nature is. It explains a lot when you understand what it is. Mine is an African lion, and they're female, though. They're opposite of what our bodies are, because it's balance. And um, you can find out what that is. And when you do find it out, oh man, I've done hundreds of people, and they just like their mouths hit the floor like, no kidding. Now I get why I do what I do, why I react like I react. And it's really a very liberating thing. And it's something that can be done on your own. But, in 20, it's kind of like lead you through how to get to those actual vibrations in your mind, and have little cues to get there. You don't have to do those kind of cues. And I do describe the soul in a certain way, but that was just kind of in a general way. That's the way I have come to see it now. But your soul will show to you as it wants you to see it, so to speak. All you have to do is, after you get to that point, say, show yourself to me as you want me to see you. And it will. It will. And if you're a seer, it'll be easy. If you're a clairvoyant, it'll be really easy. If you're a sensitive, it's hard. It really is. I'm a sensitive. It was tough. It was really tough for me. I didn't find the lion right away. I found soul right away, but they want you to know, the ego wants to hide, your personality. It doesn't want to be known because it knows that it loses control, so to speak. So it can kind of hide. And so as a sensitive, I couldn't just see like I'm able to do with people that see. I can just have them see it right away almost these days. But anyway, so if you're a sensitive, you've got to be patient with yourself. But it is very gratifying to be a sensitive, because when you do come to feel, when you get into the meditation or just in a daily sense now, God is my best friend. Every thought, everything that I've ever done, I know has been with, for, and by God. And I just say, just believe that to be a possibility. That's the only thing I ask to believe, just that it's a possibility. And then just go within yourself and just go to that episode 20, or just go within yourself, slightly roll your eyes up. That is a real scientific trigger to open you up, to climb your mountain, which is your body. That's in the parable. Your body is the mountain or the sycamore tree. Pull it out of unconsciousness to Christ consciousness with the seed of faith, with the mustard seed of faith. And the reason why Celeste has such passion when he's talking about that is because it was just done recently with him, and it's very exciting. And to share it, share it is very exciting.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Super cool. I want everybody to try it. Take a crack at it.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want to know why you're wired the way you're wired, right?
It's the good news. Yeah.
Such a cool
thing. It's the good news. Yeah.
How did God design you?
Yep.
So just sending a welcome to P Temp as well, and for Israel. Would love to, if you could chime in and maybe call in and speak about your experience with the meditation, any pain you've had in terms of the practice of returning to the meditation, anything like that. I know isolation is another thing that came up, the pain of isolation. I appreciate Giraffe Heart bringing that, pointing that out. I assume maybe that's what she means, but that's a very real psychic thing again, right? Where we're wired for connection. We're wired for this, for dialogue.
People hate. So people go through hell relationships because they can't be alone. It is.
That's not how you're truly wired. God says, seek the kingdom within. So that's where you're going to be connected to everything ever is, was, and ever will be, all at once. So I've been really enjoying sharing with people. Mother's Day just passed, and some folks really get torn up about not having their moms here. I'm a mama's boy, and I get that. I understand that. It is super hard not to have my mom around, even though physically she's here. But, she's just not really here anymore because of the condition that she's suffering from.
Yep.
But it's kind of cute because it does return her to a childlike state. And that's really pure and beautiful to see at times.
Yeah.
But the pain of isolation, the pain of people passing. Again, you can choose to end that suffering by going into meditation and just connecting with them and just being with them. That's 100% possible. We do this. We get to have these relationships still. And it's real. It's not nuts and granola, woohoo.
It is absolutely real. Yeah. And, you know, ask and you receive for sure. But I wanted to real quick about the call-ins and stuff like that.
Mm.
And, um,
Some that many are called,
well,
few are
no,
chosen.
about calling into the show
Oh,
to the live
sorry.
podcast. Just, I understand that, people, it's hard, what would I say? I don't even this stuff that we're talking about is like, it's not talked about. It's not, the interpretation is not out there, not in this way.
It
So
is
it's kind of
now.
like, I understand that people are shy, and it's like, wow, what would I say? Anything, everything is okay. Whatever anybody believes, or whatever you want to know or ask or just share. So, I understand, like, P Temp, probably a little shy about doing that. Hopefully someday he will join us, because he experienced a lot of the things that we're talking about. And it was, the way, and I will go ahead and just say it real quick, Temp, that he said, I've been looking for this my entire life, and I just didn't realize this was what it was.
That was a beautiful moment. I
And then
remember that like it was yesterday. That was so
yeah,
cool.
and then he went through the meditation. He met his soul. He got his soul name, and he met his carnal self, his animal self, a rhino. And so, very amazing stuff. And I would love for you to tell that story, but
Yeah,
I
when
know
you're ready.
I
Yeah.
understand the shy stuff, and you know this is what we're doing, so this is our thing.
There might be some
And
chakra alignment that we could suggest for Israel
yeah,
to open up that throat chakra.
and anybody that's new, if you're interested in this at all, you might be, thank you. You might get it.
What am I
And
listening
anybody
to?
that's actually on the app for Podbean, you're probably going to get pop-ups, and the pop-ups are going to ask for you to either follow us or give donation or gift or whatever. We will not accept donations. We will not. If anybody tries to do that, and if it comes to me, I'll try to find out how to get it back to you, because we don't want it. This is of God, by God, for God, and we're proving it. We do not want anybody to donate to this. God is providing. God will provide. We are never going to say God told us to do something and then, but we can't do it without your help, without your money.
We need your money. No,
Yeah,
we're good. We're good like that.
we will never need anybody to do that. If we did, we'll end it. If it came to that, we'll end it. We won't do it anymore. It's something that I was told I would do 30 some years ago, like going on 34 and a half, 35 years ago. And it's come true. And I was told that it would be provided, that I would never ask. And it would be an anonymous thing, because we don't want this to be about a person or people. It's about you and your experience with God, your experience of what you believe. It's about that for each individual that hears this. It's not about us. We're
The
just voices
weirdest
that are
thing,
telling you what we experience.
and what one of the things we experienced was that the word was made of non-effect by the tradition of, the faith that we initially brought us and opened us up to Christ. And that's okay, right? We need to keep being seekers, and yeah,
Yeah, everything
we
is
just
wonder.
we just
Yeah,
we just really want you to understand that God is a God of love, and love is actually a verb. It's an action. So
yes.
this is our next right action of love, is to just share it freely. You're not
And
going to charge.
God doesn't have a limited box of gifts. you know,
Yeah.
God is abundant. God created everything and has created it all, and it all is created from abundance. when I used to pray, God, like, the things are tough. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. Why can't I have a pile of money and stuff? But I came to the realization that that is what I'm supposed to experience, and that I am created from abundance. If God wanted me to be wealthy and probably not even understand what I understand now, if I was, because you can't serve two masters. If you become wealthy, you have to work for it. You have to, that's where your focus has to be. So I'm glad I was never wealthy, but I am beyond wealth now in my experience of energy and of love and of joy. And I think the joy thing is very important because people want to feel joy. Everybody wants to feel joy, and they don't get it because they're looking at the world and not liking what they see. Every generation has not liked what it's seen. And ever since Jesus, everybody's been looking for the end times. Everybody, you know, every
Instead of
generation, this
looking
is
for
the
the
end
joy,
time.
yeah, the
Yeah.
joy of these, yeah. So what about the term the joy of the Lord? Is that the joy of the law? What does that mean?
Yes, that's what it is. The law of joy, actually.
Wow.
To reverse it, say Lord means law. That's what Lord means. So it's, yeah, the
The
joy
law
of
of
the
joy.
Lord. Turn it around. Law of joy. The law
So,
of
so
joy
yeah,
is connection to God.
and it needs to be we need to put the reminder out there that joy isn't just happiness or euphoria. That joy
Yeah.
is an inner calm that, that we can go and be in these green pastures and being restored amidst real trials. We have
Yes.
joy
Yes.
from that. That is a
Yes.
joyful experience of knowing that the trial, we may not know the purpose of the trial amidst the trial, but we know it's for God's, to make God more well known, like to help us radiate God's
Yeah.
love even
Yeah.
greater.
Yeah. And there's some really, boy, to call spades spades and diamonds diamonds and clubs clubs and hearts hearts. There's some really wicked stuff going on that, from my judgment, is wicked. But to the people doing it, it's pleasure to them, which is what Celeste was talking about earlier. But there's wicked stuff, and it's hard to believe that can bring something positive in its long run. What that only exists temporarily. It only exists temporarily. The soul is never harmed. That's why they're called the virgins in the parable with the oil. Virgins, because the soul is never harmed. It's never compromised. It's never impured, so to speak. I don't. The word isn't coming to me to use for it, but it soiled or whatever. It's never. It's always pure. It just grows in that pureness. It
It's beautiful.
experiences pain so it can grow
Mm.
in joy and experience of that, and so it can be a conscious, full energy soul that is light like Jesus. And I say, just go to that. I can't remember. I just had it the other day or yesterday of Jesus going to Paul or Saul when he was going to Damascus. He showed up as light. He's light. He's energy. That's what we are to become, because he said we will do those things and greater. That's the greater. But yet that never ends. You live that for eternity, and you live that in expansion. It just expands.
Yeah, and your kingdom that has come, is going to be the people in your life that you affect with it, right? And those are the jewels that we're going to cast before God. Is all that love that we've just given to the world by freely giving what was given to us. That's the jewels that we put to you know, the King. That's
Yeah.
our gift. And
And,
and then the experience for God was beautiful, right? Because He gets to see all this love that we poured out to
yes.
His special kids, as what my friends
And
used to call
just for, the gender issues going on these days, God is not a gender, not genders. God is yin and yang.
them.
Yin and yang. And that's why that's the thing of Adam
Oh,
being
I
split.
said before him, huh? Didn't I? Okay. Yeah.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I think you've
Yeah.
been doing really good with
Yeah.
that. No, I didn't hear that at all. I just was saying
Maybe I
that
did.
just like for women and men, women have been made of non-effect actually through religion, through the traditions, and it's very, it's not a mistake, but God is yin and yang. It's not a man. It's not this king. Men are not kings, or men are not better or more special. Just in this existence, the way God has it set up, that's what's happening. But it's shifting. But God is yin and yang, not male and female, yin and yang. God created the genders with Adam and Eve. That was an example of that,
Right.
and then created procreation through union of physical bodies. But God is yin and yang, always yin and yang together, always male and female, so to speak. But it's not genders; it's yin and yang. And when God said we created him as one of us, that's when God was creating genders. But we created him as one of us because God is yin and yang. We are all yin and yang. We are. I'm a male, but I'm yin or whatever, whichever's what. I don't know what's what, but I'm yin. My wife is yang, or vice versa, and we balance each other. That's what we're all doing, but we're all separated by focusing on gender, by separating each other by gender or by race or by color or whatever, which
Maybe that's the double portion that God's blessing us with when they talk about that. We bless you with a double portion because
oh yeah,
we get both.
exactly. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, really. Yeah.
That's a little
Yes. Great
There's a little nugget.
interpretation.
There's a little nugget.
Yes. There you go.
But
You
hey,
know. You know.
oh, I feel like I might be coming to the end here.
Yeah,
I got
yeah.
some. I'm getting some body signals that
We're going on an hour and a half.
I
Yeah.
gotta start moving again.
We're both had some cool, you had your great surfing day, and I went out and had a really cool day with family, that
Nice.
it had, it's been a while. It's really
Yeah,
awesome.
right. Things are opening up again. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. Oh,
Um, what was my hashtag? Favor's not fair. Maybe we can do that next week.
yeah. Favor's not fair.
Let's tag this
if
as the next week's
if
topic because
favor,
I loved when I heard that, and I want people to receive the jubilee that's before them. That's really kind of if I can speak a prophecy over anybody, if you're listening right now, it's because you're meant to hear that God wants to give you a jubilee year like you never expected, and it's coming for you.
yeah. Oh
And
man, and I
and
guarantee you,
God is so abundantly generous that you just have to, kind of open your mind through this Christ conscious meditation and receive, and then it'll be so rapid. It'll be so honestly mind blowing that, yeah,
yes.
and you're ready. If you're ready now, then you're ready. And if you're not, it's okay.
Yeah, and I know your passion right there, that's touching some people, man, because
Well, it's
you're
for
just,
you. If you're hearing it,
it's
it's
so
for
true.
you. It's
Yes.
meant for you. And you may be one of those people who, this is why we are on the topic of the pain principle, because favor's not fair, right? If the beat downs are favor and not everybody gets a beat down like we did,
Yeah.
it's just not your
Amen.
time yet. It's just not your time yet. So don't trip.
So
Perfect
people
provision.
that people that have come in late and that are still here, or that I will have this published sometime tonight. It'll be published tomorrow. It'll be on YouTube automatically sometime tomorrow, and it will have closed captioning, which I know I've heard from people, they really appreciate that. So if anybody wants to go back and re-listen to this, and then we have a whole archive of everything on YouTube and here on Podbean of all our shows, and we go over things a few times. There's nothing, pretty much nothing is really new, but we have different experiences during the weeks that we share, and it keeps coming together again and again, and it's really wonderful, and it amplifies us. It really lifts our spirits, and
Yeah,
we
we get
just
to see
hope.
confirmation happening, like about the
Yeah,
topic, right? My morning
exactly.
devotion, right, was about this pain principle. And
Yep.
Christ never leaves you because he never left. I loved when he said that. It was like such a nugget.
Yep. You cannot come back if you never left. And Jesus has never left.
Thank
He's
you,
right here.
Jesus.
He's sitting right here inside me, man.
Thank you, Jesus, for
Right here
knowing what's
inside me.
best for us. Well, abundant
So
of
anyway,
blessings. Yeah, abundant of blessings to all of
yeah.
you for the week ahead. Hope you join us again next week where we'll be talking about hashtag favor ain't fair.
Yep. And hey, if anybody is listening to this and you're contrary to this or whatever, if you like to challenge, call in next time. Call in sometime. Challenge. If
Or go to our
you,
YouTube channel and post a comment.
yeah, post a comment in YouTube. Yes.
Same name, Christ Truth
Yes.
Reveal.
I know it's hard to
We're
really,
not shadow banned.
how do you comment on what we're talking about when it's never been heard before? But it's time. It's time for the little book. The little book is open now. It's the Unleavened Bible. Talks about it in Revelation. The little book. Eat it up. It'll be bitter to your belly, but it'll be sweet as honey to your mouth.
Mm.
That's the Unleavened Bible, and that's what this is about.
Amen.
Sharing that, to focus on spirit, and what your eternity really is spirit. It's energy. You live forever. That's how you live. You live as light, as energy, as creator. It's really amazing.
Yes.
So
The
with
act of
that,
creation is causing you to be more like Christ every time you're there.
yes, and that's what it's about. Being Christ, opening up to the Christ in yourself with that seed of faith. All you have to do is just start with that little bit of faith that it's possible, and then ask, seek, knock. Thank you, Celeste,
Beautiful,
very
man.
much.
Beautiful. Yeah. Much love
Yeah,
to
I'm
you,
really
Giraffe Heart, to our
energized.
listeners.
Thank you, thank you, P.
Big shout out to
Amen.
Israel and Giraffe Heart, and of course you, the lion. Um,
Yes, yes.
yeah, it is an ever present joy to be wandering these green pastures with you, brother.
Yep, and God knows, and I can't get to all of it. So
Okay,
anyway,
we're
thank
gonna
you everybody
gonna
that
call it.
listened, and there know there's a bunch of people that are listening in more in private, not on the app and stuff. So to all of you, thank you. And if anybody is getting pop-ups that has the app that's asking for gifts and stuff like that, again, we do not accept gifts. We don't care if you follow us or not. If you do, that's fine. If you want to give comments, that's wonderful.
Yeah, that's what we
The
would
gift,
encourage before even falling into the whole Podbean gift thing. Just the gift is your participation.
yes, and if you call in and stuff, that is the ultimate gift that we can ask
Yeah,
for, no matter
we
what it
could.
is, no matter if it's a challenge or or yelling at
Yeah,
us or whatever. We don't care. That's still a gift.
I wanna maybe just put out there that we could run it like a clubhouse on the app Clubhouse. We could just have people take the stage and talk for
Yeah, yeah,
whatever
yeah,
session they need to get off their chest about what we're saying.
yeah. And
And
I'm
we're,
an
we're happy to hear
android.
it. And nobody's gonna kick you off the stage for saying whatever you're
Exactly.
saying. That's
Yeah.
not how
And
we
I'm an
roll.
and
That's not love. That's not perfect love. And we're here to be present with everybody.
I,
So
I'm
anyway,
I'm
again, a little sneak preview, but
yeah.
favor ain't fair. Think about how that's affected your walk, and let's talk more next week, Sunday
And
at 8.
yeah, and also something that we say is retreat within and go forth. Retreat within, go forth. Retreat from outside world, from outside influences, from listening to other people. Retreat within and listen to Christ, to God within yourself, to your soul, and go forth and learn and go forth into joy and ask for the experience of that, to understand that everything is perfection.
Thank
It
you.
looks imperfect to us, but it's not. It's perfect. It's perfection. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so I guess we gotta get off.
Much love
Okay,
and
thank you.
aloha. See you next
Good night,
week.
everybody, or a good day wherever you are in the world. Thank you for joining. Good night.
Good night.